Hello, hello, welcome back. Here we are. It is time for another edition of the Get Good Chronicles, where we teach you how to play some of these games and, talk about ideal strategies as well as other stuff in them. Here we are. Today is Zodiac Age. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite games, and there's actually a lot of crazy stuff you can do that can make even a newbie to the game just go rock star. And it's my hope that after we get done with this, you will be just as able to do as anybody else. So there are two things that make Zodiac Age crazy. We'll go into them. Well, actually, there's at least two things. Sorry. One you can see is trial mode. We will talk about that very, very soon. But for now, let's start a new game, and then get a new save going. There's actually quite a lot in this game. Oh right, I forgot there's a new game plus, but we won't be doing that. Yeah, and this one is actually very interesting if you use trial mode. Again, we'll go into why I'm saying that sort of thing. But first off, make our setting. You can adjust the speed mode multiplier layer, and I strongly suggest doing that. I can't actually, so it won't. You have to be in game in order to hear the different music tracks. I think we were just using reorchestrated. Period. There's certain fights where I prefer original over redone. The remix. Mostly late game fights that they replace the track entirely with a new one, and I just didn't like the track. I tend to switch it out when that's the case. Anyway, New Game Plus means you start at level 90, but I think, let's see, if you wait for it to scroll over, it'll tell you. It's basically a mode for fun. New Game Plus, New Game Minus means you can't advance past your starting levels. And that is a mode that you have to be very creative in dealing with, because some of the enemies will just be, I would say they're kind of outright unbeatable, but that's why they call it a challenge. So we're going to start a regular new game, which means we don't start at any level settings, and we will be able to go through just fine. As usual for the Good Chronicles, we'll be skipping cutscenes whenever we can, because this does imply that you are looking for help with something specific, or you're looking to do a replay with more knowledge to it. You there? So you get to the opening area. It's impossible to lose this area because there are NPCs in that section. This is effectively a tutorial. Now, combat in this game is different from most others. Here, you have to wait for your turn to pop up. Do your targeting. Early on, you cannot do much other than auto attack and manually put in controls. Right? Manually put in choices. Now, it all requires you for you to select the action, then wait for it to fully charge, and then it automatically executes. For melee, you need to be within range. For ranged, you need to be just at range. You notice we have Cure and Thunder. Elemental weaknesses are a big key of success in this game. Because so I think except for 14, Final Fantasies always respect elemental weaknesses. If you look at the lower right, you can see when your attack is coming up. And since we're in the very early game, we do not have access to Gambits, which will allow us to customize our attack options. So you have to manually do this each time. And the boss is down. So remember, at this point, unless you actively do it, you will not automatically engage, as you can see from that last one. And also note, this is the only time in the game you'll be controlling Rex, so it doesn't matter what you do much with him at all. Notice he's got starter gear. So you can bring up the full map here. And take note, if you fully complete a map, you get a bonus completion towards the end of the game. In the sense that if you complete every single map, including, you have to uncover every single thing, leave no, okay, so you see these little gray areas just ahead? You cannot leave any map, uncovered on that. And there is an achievement for both, both on Steam if you're playing on Steam, and an in-game one. We'll go over what that means in time. Because right now we cannot actually access the in-game achievements area. So in this game, loot can come from drops like that, and I don't think we're able to establish a chain yet. And this is such a very difficult sequence to lose, because your party, the NPC allies will keep healing you, and you also have your own healing. Okay, so that areas are covered. Note the thin line that's indicating the direction where your map continues. As you can see, we're now up here where crystal is, and then if we go to the other line just to the left of our position, we will go to the next map. The red circle with an X indicates your current destination. Let's get ourselves on a clean file so we don't override anything else.
Intruders! Don't let them escape!
Sir, we have little time. You must go to the king.
We're just gonna skip this. Oh, and let's see. Need to put subtitles on. I did not see that option at first. And we're going to put this on last selection. This helps. Make sure to put everything on, yeah. So this is something I didn't talk about. Basically, you want to do that because it makes it seem like first, it speeds up battle. Second, it's going to make it look like, previous Final Fantasy games, where it's not waiting on you so much. Probably just heal up when we have a chance. Don't worry about your items because you lose them anyway. I keep wanting to sprint. Too much muscle memory from, like a dragon in Infinite Wealth. Okay. So by default, when you move your character around, you are already sprinting. So hang on just a moment, please. Alright, sorry. Just need a quick drink. So continue skipping. Again, these Let's Learn videos assume you've either played the game already or you're okay with spoilers because a lot of these will spoil content. You need to be aware of that. So continue skipping. Now we have control of Vaan. Notice there's a chain in the lower left. Sorry, lower right. Now we'll go over what that means in a moment. Alright, so once we get past this cutscene, get control again, we can explain what chains are. And we still have a little bit of tutorials here. Okay. So we finally got control. Alright, so chains are basically, if you kill... So as you saw there, we killed 3 rats, right? So we got a chain of 3. Now, the more chains you get after a certain point, will start giving you increased loot drops, as well as after yet another point after that, will give you stuff like hit point restores, as well as increase the odds of getting rare drops. Now, what that means is there are certain areas in the game where you could get absurd amounts of drops, and I'll be pointing out some of these because there's one coming up around, I want to say 10 hours in, no, let's see, I want to say 10 hours into the game, probably closer to 7 or 8. And it's actually a very early one to reach. When we get to that point, I will point it out and try to demonstrate as best as I can. This is actually a really good spot early on. So anyway, we need to continue the story. What you want to consider doing is, when you get full access to roam around and do stuff. See, Sansi, yep, there it is. It's been about 4 years, okay? So I might forget some stuff. We haven't played this since our Let's Play. Alright. That's a Lowtown gate. You need to be aware of it. Note what is going on here. They will not let you in there. It's a not really subtle way of making sure, Square making sure you do the story up to the point where they decide it's okay to free roam. So the Sand Sea is a bar. Now you can get you can get hunts in here, which are ones that will unlock relatively quickly. And bear in mind, hunts are gated by story. See? Now, we don't need that because I got you. I'm telling you what. And this is license, yeah. So the big mechanic of 12 is the license system. Well, I should say one of the big mechanics. Think of it like let's see, what's the best analogy? Oh, think of it like job points in Final Fantasy Tactics. Yeah, actually, yeah, that would be the exact best analogy I can make for it. It works like the job points there, where you have to spend it in order to unlock stuff. So, yeah. So let's bring it up. Okay, so right now we only have the one. The rank indicates the difficulty, as well as, the status and the name of it. Now, rank 1s are very easy. They're meant to be tackled early on, and I think the hardest rank 1 is like level 10 or something like that. Now, if I remember correctly, they go up to rank 7 or... No, wait, I'm pretty sure it's rank 5, actually. Again, it's been a while. I'm sure we can find it later, but... Generally speaking, the higher the rank, the more dangerous the monster, and only the super boss of the game, Matt, is hidden behind well, not really hidden, but he's behind a max level rank, hunt. Oh, there we go. No, there we go. Sorry, been a while. Let's get this off our screen. Oh, crap. Oh, good. We don't have to go in all the way in. I just want to get all these off our screen so we can pay attention more. All right. So your first license board is well, basically these are the jobs of Zodiac Age. Now you can see they all have classic. Some of them have classic names, and they're also recurring jobs that appear. Like White Mage is White Mage. It's meant to be a healing job. Shikari is actually the ninja job. Bushi is Samurai. Black Mage is Black Mage. Archer is self-explanatory. Foebreaker, this is kind of hard to tell. I don't think there really is a analogy to it from previous games. So it's kind of, just there. In the sense of, it feels like it's a unique creation for this. Time Battle Mage is interesting because it's Time Mage, but... It's got a little bit of a different loadout than what Time Mages normally do. Time Mages normally have access to the same gear that other casters have, like Black Mage and Archer. However, in this game, they're crossbow users, or rather, they equip crossbows. Now, you can equip any kind of weapon and armor combination. However, some you have to have the license for it. Monk is Monk. They have access to poles and unarmed combat in this game. Knight is Knight, and depending on how you set your what other boards you get, as well as what spells, you can end up making the Knight be more like the classic Final Fantasy Paladin. Red Battle Mage is interesting because Red Mages did appear in previous games prior to this. I think they first appeared in... Oh no, they first appeared all the way back in Final Fantasy I, and I think they came back in 3, and then 5, and then finally back here. Although there are some characters, if I remember correctly, since then that were effectively Red Mage, and they later became a job in 11, and then later 14. And here they use maces instead of other weapons. So notice they have access to arcane magic, white mage magic, and black magic. It's limited for them. So if you want them to have full repertoire, you're going to have to, take as your second board either black mage or white mage. Now, okay, we can also preview the board. So unfortunately, you cannot see very far in right now, but arcane magic is effectively stuff like the dark spells and stuff that's not normally available, to the other jobs. So machinist is a recurring job. I'm trying to think of who the big machinists were. I remember correctly, Edgar in 6 was considered a big machinist. Yeah, because he uses a lot of stuff that later showed up as abilities for the Final Fantasy XIV machinist. And let's see, who else was big? Typically speaking, I think anybody who's considered an engineer in previous games was also a machinist. Because normally they're associated with high tech and engineering and all that. They're also gun users, so that's something to consider. Ulan is a spear class. This is basically the Dragoon of this game. I don't know why they just didn't say Dragoon, but yeah. Notice they start out with heavy armor, as well as battle lore. Battle lore increases your damage by 10%. This is also true of magic lore. Every single lore you get increases your current amount by 10%. So, now, there are 6 party members in the game, as well as guest members who cannot have their license boards or anything changed. But for the 6 characters, each one has its own, there are certain ones that it's oriented towards, I should say. In the original 2006 version, you all had the same board, but you started in different areas catered towards that character. For example, Vaan would start in the light armor area and cater towards one-handed swords. Here, you could choose which one you pick. So keep in mind, what these decisions are. You can revert your boards later. You can swap jobs. A patch, I think, about 2 years after it hit Steam. Hit Steam in 2020, and I think the patch was around 2022. I think it was around the same time the Switch version came out, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the Switch version came later or same time, but basically a patch came out that allowed you to completely revert your boards. So you were no longer hard locked into picking one specific combo. You can now specialize according to what you need. Just a matter of going back and getting it done at an upcoming area. And the upcoming area is very early in the game, so you don't need to worry about missing it or anything. It's hard to miss it because it's part of the story. That being said, Vaan is not naturally a good Shikari. Now, there's some advanced dot that goes into your board combos. For the most part, you can complete the game with any wacky combo. You just need to be aware of how some combos interact with bosses, what gearing is, and all that. But there are some extremely powerful setups that I don't know because I never really understood them. So I know what works for me, and that's where we're going to be using here. But there are some hyper advanced setups that require absolute crazy knowledge of the game, because some characters actually interact with different jobs and different weapons more radically than others. For example, if I remember correctly, Vaan is considered best Shikari because of his animations, and like that. Some of these characters have different animations when using certain weapons, and it allows them to get more damage in, or allows them more stuff. Yeah, it's all super try-hard stuff that I never could even get close to. And I played this game. Let's see. Hang on. Let's check this version. If I played this version for, let's see, where are you? Yeah, I've put in 215 hours in this version, and probably twice that much in the original PlayStation 2 version. And I never could come anywhere near what some of these guys out there are doing with these crazy comps. For example, there is a guy out there who did a Yasmat kill in 45 minutes. To put in perspective how crazy tryhard that is, Yasmat is known to take at least 2 hours, even with a geared up and set up party comp. That is how crazy tryhard some of these combos are, and it's like, damn. But yeah, we are not going to go that far because I could not ever reach that level. Anyway, so we're going to put Vaan on Shikari because that is naturally his best one, and it resembles a starting spot in the original game. Again, remember, you can change later, and we might actually change later. And you can see he starts out with access to light armors. So we're going to go ahead and put that on. Yeah, aiming on. We need to go ahead and do this. Now, I think we get the full party around, let's see, ooh. Can't remember the exact spot we get the full party. Because between now and I want to say up to that 10 to 15 hour mark I was talking about a little while ago, we do not have the full party yet. I think that's around the time of the game we get the full party. It may not be, I'm not sure. But when we get the full party, we will go over recommended jobs for each one. Because there are some excel at different jobs, different boards and everything better than others. And it's something to consider if you want to try to have a somewhat optimized party. I don't claim the setups I'm going to be using are optimized, but it should help a lot. It will definitely get you through the game. So what we're going to do now is, first off, you want to get your bearings around the city. And you want to go over here and see this orange crystal? This is a gate crystal. You want to always get that. And here you can use the speed up button. Oh, actually, we need to adjust that. Oop, wrong area. So here's what you want to do. Oh, wrong one. Change your speed up to 4x. This will get you to do it very fast. By default, I believe you can't remap the speed button. By default, it's on the left button. This is a Xbox One pad we're using, so it could be different on on other controllers. Now we cannot exit out here just yet until the story allows us to. But when you do, you want to get access to that gate crystal. All areas are going to be locked off because the game, it was designed to make you go and do this.
You there, let's see some...
Alright, so we go slow it down. Now every time you enter an area for the first time, you get a little mini cutscene like that. Now, up ahead, not very far away, it's going to be your target, the Rogue Tomato. We're going to speed up. Now, I want to point out somebody here that you should not mess with very early on if he spawned. I believe he should be spawning soon, if he's not already. You can use this to level up a little bit. However, there's a better opportunity to really get some turbo levels. Oh, there he is. Okay. So let's kill this guy real quick before he turns around. Okay, so here is our the big monster spawn in this area. Some areas will have high level spawns that are strong for the area and likely lethal to you. However, in most cases they are not hostile by default. So this is called a wild Saurian. Notice his life bar is green. That indicates a neutral enemy. Now, if you let him, run around killing, the Worgen. Wait, let's see, what did you call Worgen? Hang on. I think they're called Worgen. No, wolves. Sorry. Yeah, so these guys are called wolves. If you let him run around killing them, they will increase his level. As you saw with the cannibalized action. No matter how close you get to him, if you do not attack him, he will not attack you. He is extremely strong for this area. Notice we have a chain going, so we got extra loot. Go ahead, heal up. All right, so back to the hunt. Now, once you accept the hunt and go to the target area, when you see the target, you will get a marker on the map. See, now on the big map, you won't see it most of the time, but if you go to the mini map, you can see it. A small circle is a regular mob. A big circle is a hunt target. Okay, you can stop that anytime now, buddies. And we got a nice little level up. Again, see, notice you will not see it on the main map, but you will see it on the mini map. Okay, we need to heal up again. This early on, potions are probably going to heal you really nicely for a full heal. And they'll heal you. It's not until you have around, I want to say at least 250 hit points where they stop being fairly economical. You don't need to worry about getting stuff like high potions and everything until you start having very large hit point totals. Once the hit points start getting to the point where they're, so I want to say at least 600, maybe 750, then start looking at high potions. But early on, regular potions are cheap, and they will get the job done. All right, so we're going to head back now. If you hold down the R2 button, you can go into flee mode, which means until you drop aggro. It will chase you until you drop aggro, which is usually just a short distance. In many ways, you can think of this as like a mini MMO-like. And I do believe this did serve the foundation for their future MMO projects after 11. But generally speaking, you can use that, you can look at it as kind of MMO-like in approach. Okay. So before we go on, I gotta talk about something interesting here. If you were playing this on PlayStation 4, I want to say it's 4, maybe it was 5. I'm pretty sure it was 4. If you do this while you're playing, I think the demo version, or I think it was like a demo version of it while loading the game. It would actually Kites would have a special dialogue only to the PS4 version where he talks about waiting. And then he brings up a percentage indicating how much the game had left to download. I don't quite know the circumstances about it. I just remember seeing screenshots of it before, and I thought it was funny. And this only happens on the PS4, and it's probably because of the way it's digitally delivered. The Steam version does not have this issue because the Steam version is fully downloaded. So Kites will tell you, it's the only time you can ever see Kites having special dialogue about that. It's if the game is not fully downloaded yet.
Vaan.
Alright, so now we can go in and out of Lowtown. Now, what I suggest you do here actually is, first off, we need to go over access to clan. So I was actually wrong. It's not part of the story, but you need to. I believe you can go the entire game without accessing the clan. Oh, but you need to because it provides incredible amounts of benefits. Now this is Mont Blanc. I know I'm mangling that. I'm trying, okay? I don't speak French, so I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. But it does sound like a French name. So Mont Blanc here. You may wonder why is he familiar. It's because he first appeared in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance as part of the Moogles there. And this is what a Moogle looks like in Final Fantasy XII. Now, you get special marks here. They're gated around story progress, just like the major hunt boards. If you come back here every time you reach a major milestone in the story, as well as other stuff, he will give you extra rewards. This is actually required in the sense of that certain items and such are easier to get the materials for by coming here after meeting a story milestone or something else. Also, whenever you increase your rank, you get access to more items in the Bazaar. And this is also where you go in order to change your license board around if you're not happy with what you got. See, every time you get a new clay rank, it'll give you new loot on top of any story milestones or special milestones like collecting all espers. He will give you new stuff. Early on, it's low-level rewards, but it's the mid-in game where the rewards really start getting useful. So yes, and he tells you about Gambits even before you actually seen them. So it's a complete reset, meaning you get every single LP point back, and it gives you the prompt that way you don't do it by accident. And this is a new mode. If you're wondering why he looks familiar, it's because a version of them appeared in the Shadowbringers MSQ for 14. Now let's see. So he is where you want to go when you want to get special marks that the hunt boards do not have. And those are, and again, it's usually story gated. So now we got that. We're going to go take a look at the Bazaar, because the Bazaar in 12 has some very interesting interactions. Gonna pop the speed boost so we can get over there quickly. So look over here. This is where you want to go. Clan Provisioner. Yeah. So basically, the Bazaar is something. The Bazaar is Schrodinger's merchant. It's there when it's something to buy. Otherwise, it's not existent. Now, what this means is you sell loot. Now, we don't have anything that triggers it. But whenever you sell something and you have enough, you reach a trigger point, which is composed of selling enough materials for an item to be created. Now, what this means is that's when the Bazaar becomes active, and you can buy it as a package deal. Now, the Bazaar, there's a way to duplicate items through it. So let's say, okay, I'm trying to think. This may have been patched in Zodiac Age. I haven't tried to do it in years. And the last time I did try to do it was all the way back in the original PlayStation 2 version. But let's say you want to create item 1 and 2. They share material A and have material B and C as unique items for both. Yeah, okay, so item 1 takes 3 of material A, and item 2 takes 5 of material A. Now, if you sell all of material A, but not not the stuff to make a item 2, you only get material A. However, if you sell all three materials all three material types at once, which would trigger both item A and item 1 and 2, you get item 1 and 2. This is something that's really useful to know when trying to create rare weapons and armor that have hard to get items. Hard to get materials. And I don't know if that trick still works here, but in the original PlayStation 2 version, it did, and it helped so much. You had to sell, at the same time in order to get the items created, because it would take them all into account rather than you sell, come out, then go back in and sell, which will not create both items from the same material. Alright, so we're going to get out of here. And we're going to keep hustling. Now, bear in mind, you want to definitely consider looking at some of these vendors. A scroll is a technique shop. A wand is a magic shop. Sword is weapons. Shield is armor, and that's pretty much pretty straightforward. Now, some of these shops are pretty much stasis, and I think some of them do open up new stuff as you progress the story. But you're mostly going to be looking at new stores every time you go to a new city, because they will definitely have newer gear. Oh, and the base is an item shop. Okay, so here I want to show you the gate crystal. So this is the downside of using that. You can end up doing that. Alright, so make sure to attune to orange gates as soon as you get them. Now, you have two. A blue crystal is just a save spot. It restores your health and magic. But an orange crystal will do the same thing as a blue crystal, but it gives you access to a teleport. You need teleport stones in order to use them. Now, most of those are easy to get. So this is how you access chocobos in 12. There. You need to find the Gertie, or out in the wild you can actually find them, but you need Gasol greens in order to charm them. And you can only use them in the area that you have access to them in. All right, so this area is the Giza Plains. Now, this is actually a very rough area to go into when you're very low level. As you can see here, is a very large area, even from the start, and it has stuff that is rough to go around, this early on. And you are going to have to come here as part of the story, but you'll get access to another party member when that happens. So what you're actually going to want to do is go back in and save your game. Now, this isn't completely optional, but it actually helps a lot this early on. So we're going to exit out. Go back to the title menu. And now we're going to do trial mode. Now, trial mode is it's an interesting system they brought in. I believe it first appeared all the way back in the International Job System, which was the second edition of Final Fantasy XII. There are three versions: the original in 2006, then a re-release called the International Job System. It's a lot like the international version of Final Fantasy X in the sense that it added new content and allowed altered game mechanics, significantly. And the third version here is the Zodiac version, which is a complete remaster of the graphics, audio, as well as adding new mechanics and even more built upon the job system. Now, I believe trial mode did first appear in job system. Here it operates very interestingly. Alright, so let's see if we can pause this. Okay. Now, trial mode works in that it takes your active party at the time and it puts you in battles against enemies that escalate over time and in different locations. Early on, this is actually a very easy one. I think it's around floor 10 that it starts getting rough. Well, yeah, no, I think it's actually floor 5 early on for very extremely low level parties. So you'll end up having to repeat the first couple of floors a few times in order to get what you want. Let's see here. Do we need to check something? I think we missed an ability somewhere. We may not have to. Okay. Now let's see here. There's supposed to be a use ability that Vaan gets very early on, but I don't see it here. Remember, he starts out with it normally. So, yeah. That's unusual. He may have it already, but basically there's an ability he gets early on. It makes, just makes trial mode a very easy thing to do. In the sense that, rather, it's great for farming. Oh, there it is. It's under techniques. So, steel is what we want to pay attention to here. Now, what you're going to do here is first kill off these guys, and then grab, these treasure chests. Well, assuming we can. There we go. Diamond armor. Yes, that's exactly what we wanted. So it's kind of RNG. You can force it to choose something else if you have certain items equipped. And if you once you kill every enemy here, it ends the combat. So you need to flee and move over and grab stuff before it's too late. Don't worry about the time or anything, because you're not looking to actually do that much, to do the time at this point. And once you get, strength and stuff built up, this will be much quicker to do. This is also a great source for money early game. You want to flee to force it into that. There we go. Potion. Okay, so if you look at what we just picked up, this is actually a very important item to get later on, because there's quite a few bosses that have lightning damage attacks, as well as strong enemies that you can make this a joke item to pick it. Rather, you can make them a joke by picking it. Now, notice the passive on it. It says you can search the deepest recesses of a chest, coffers, and like this means it forces the chests and such onto a different loot table. Every area has a chest that can be opened up, but it works off two pools. One is the no diamond armlet pool, and the second is the actual diamond armlet pool. Some strong mid and end game weapons and armor and other stuff need to be found using the diamond armlet. Also, notice some of these items will give you extra hit points as well, so I don't know why I didn't think of putting that on, so. So notice you do not get XP here, but you get LP. So yeah, notice how hard he hits. So you're probably going to have some trouble early on, the first couple of ones. That's okay, that's expected. That's why I suggest you might want to get level 4 or 5 before you try and do in trial mode, because these guys do hit really hard. Yeah, so that can happen. If your party completely wipes, It is a game over, but you go back. And you'll take away trial mode progress, meaning you have to restart. There we go. But notice we have more LP than when we went in, right? So save. Nope. Then reload. Go back to, start trial mode again. Well, it's probably helping these guys to stay in one spot, right? There. So we got 2 LP for each rat. That means this area gives out 12 LP a run. And once you get to the point where you get past the wolves reliably, you start getting, start snowballing pretty hard. Now, if you want to skyrocket your level early on, there is actually a very good spot for that, and I will show you how. And we're not going to be repeating the diamond armament thing because I've already shown you how to do that. Notice we are at 36 LP now. Now, you might want to consider trying to steal from him. There, free items. These items and LP will carry over to your save. I like how that one dog's just hiding around in the back. He's just running around in the back doing nothing. So be mindful if you steal an item from Dextra, then that's the only item you go get. This is actually crucial to know because on stage 3 you can get a weapon from the Cactuars that has 92 attack on it, which means it is extremely strong for this point in the game, and will carry you for a long time in the game. Remember how we had 24 before? Look at that. So the LP you gain in trial mode carries over. Now, this is actually important to know because the party members scale in 12, when they join the party, they scale off 2 things. One is Vaan's level. 2 is his current LP total. And they will always come with a default set of stuff that's universal for them, but you can still pick their license board and all that. But they will also have every single LP get point that Vaan has gained up to that point. So let's say Vaan earns 1,000 LP before leaving Rabanastre. That means every single party member who joins him will have 1,000 LP or more, and some of them will have 1 or 2 levels above him when they join. So it could actually help you a lot to set up your Vaan that way. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're gonna now show you the level up spot. Early on, this works for about 18 levels or so because that's when the XP to level starts becoming more difficult, to get. So what you're going to do is you're going to go outside the west gate. And now this is a very rough area level early on, so be careful. Alright, so now we're in the Western Sand. Now there's a special monster that only shows up when you're low on health. What you're going to want to do is, attack yourself. And you want to get yourself hit point critical. Let's see, we're going to move this way. Try to stay out of range of the monsters, because you need to get over here. And over here, good. Whoa. Okay, so turn off the speed. Okay, now that we done... Oh, crap. So what we're going to see here is something that spawns. Okay, see that? You have to be very quick on the draw when you get into that specific area. Alright, so after some RNG and studying it... Okay, so it's not hit point critical. It's actually 10% or less of your max hit points. So if you have... while we were getting hit point critical, we weren't actually in the target range for Dustia. That being said, we now have him spawning. You got to be careful, and you have to move quickly. So you got to be fast on the reflexes. No. So that enemy right next to on the list. This is something you gotta get used to. Be careful. We were too slow. So be quick on the draw. If you zone in and out, you can basically get an extra chance, but you might want to try pre-prepping it by looking at where it's going to be, moving very quickly. You have about 2 seconds before he finishes casting Dark. So be extremely quick. Yeah, okay, so that can happen. It is all about who's faster, you or Dustia. It helps if you just rearrange your items, buy you that extra bit of time. So zone in and out. Okay. So let's see, inventory. There we go. Now we should be able to buy just a slight amount of time. Every second counts. Bam! So you can skyrocket your level, but you have to be quick about it. So that worked. That, you can see, moving it did help. You have to be very, very, very quick. Now he gives out 1,000 XP. At this point, but any extra modifiers. Gotcha! Notice we just gained 3 levels. Let's see. So at this point now, you're going to get a level every time you kill Dustia. This I think it's around level 20 is when he stops being guaranteed instant. Well, no, but the Dustia count will go up over time. How many you need to kill to get a level up? Right now, he's a very good level up spot. So this is where you want to do if you want to cheesy. But it's easier to come back here after doing Sunstone because then you can buy a bunch of Phoenix Downs. And a trick I found is You can manipulate your hit points just a wee bit better. Well, first off, let's heal, because I want to show what I'm talking about. If you equip, remove your armor, that reduces your defense. And if you attack yourself, bam! So we deal about, let's see, we were doing 40 before, right? Now we're doing 60. This helps you manipulate your hit points just a wee bit better because it allows you to send you to a hit point critical. That being said, we will be coming back so I have a save game that I normally use for stuff like this, and it skips all the Dustia leveling, which we would have been doing off screen, as well as abusing trial mode. So we will come back to that when we have that. All right, so we are back. We've now loaded our prepared save, which would have been the same as the Dustia in trial mode cheesing. So I want to talk about some key items we have here. One is our clan primer written transit given to us by the story, as is the cactus flower. Oh, cool. So anyway, now you'll see we have 3 items here called the monograph. They're all called monographs, and they have different ones. So what this means is, if you have one in the inventory, these would give you extra loot as well as increase your drop rates of rare items. Now, I strongly recommend you get these. They are also incredibly easy to get early on. Let me just pause it so I can tab out. They're easy to get, and if you're using trial mode to cheese and pad your LP and stuff as well as Dustia, you can afford these. Because trial mode alone, if you just repeat stage 1 over and over and over and over, you can easily afford these. They're about 18 to 20,000 a piece for most of them. That being said, I'll tell you which order you should get them in. You'll see we have Hunter, Mage, and War Mage. So prioritize the Hunter, because the Hunter has ones you're able to fight right away. Avians are birds, so cockatrice, chocobos, divers, stealing. For beasts, you got corals, dream hares, gators, serpents, sleipnirs, toads, tortoises, restricts, and wolves. So some of those are already ones you can fight. You can go wander right outside Rabanastre and fight them. Now that's the one for 100 monograph. I would suggest for your next one, get War Mage. Now, War Mage is an easy one. So, sorry, I forgot to tell you the requirements. For Hunter's monograph, you need to complete the Dexterity hunt and speak with Gatsly and move through Bazaar. That's the Bazaar we went to earlier. And it costs 18,000, gil. For War Mage, you need to you need to check the hunt board 20 times, and it costs 20,000 gil. Now, the reason why I say the War Mage is the one you should prioritize, is because it affects Amorphs and the Undead. As you can see here from what it says. Now, what this means is, Amorphs are all flans, so flans and stuff like that. But the Undead, well, there's a farm area. If you remember, I told you there was going to be a farm area where you could do a lot of chains and such. That's actually coming up relatively soon. It's about it's around 10 hours or less than 10 hours in, and it's actually an extremely nice area to farm if you have the monograph. So I strongly suggest you get the War Mage first. And you'll see we have the Mage one. The Mage monograph affects. So the Mage monograph is talk to a magic shop owner 25 times, and it affects fiends and Ichthyians. So fiends means some cockatrices like the Lesser Chimera, Gorgamera, Chimera Brain, and it affects bombs, crystal bugs, gargoyles, nightmares, and earthstrixes. Ichthyians are fish type enemies, so Yinsa, Bull Yinsa, Ichthon, Bocalor, yeah. So mostly stuff you see in watery areas. So those are ones I strongly suggest you get. Now there's also the Knight's monograph, which affects giants and insects. So giants are stuff like behemoths, so werewolves. There's also Headless, Slaven, The insects are like killer mantis, mimics. And you talk to a weapon shop owner 30 times. 19,000 gil to buy it. There's also the Dragoon's monograph, which has checked the hunt board 40 times. Costs 22,000 gil, and it affects dragons and plants. So, Fellworm, Shieldworm, Gizamalu, Twintania, Wild Saurian, stuff like that. Plants would be cactoids, treants, Marlboros, mandragoras, stuff like that. Something to note is most of the dragons. Well, honestly, almost every single dragon type is a late game monster. So if you think you get the Dragoon early, it's wasted gold at that point. So you wait until you're in the mid and late game to get that, because then you actually get value out of it. Unless you're insistent on farming wild Saurians, and that's risky. So the Sage's monograph, that is one I would suggest getting last, because you have to talk to the owner of any shop 100 times. And I think it counts all of the knight and mage ones together. So you're really talking about less than 100 times. I am not 100% sure. I've never actually looked it up. But Sage's monograph costs 25,000 gil and it affects elementals. Elementals are very rare in the sense that they take specific spawn conditions to happen, and they are a mid and late game enemy. So I would not bother getting that at all until you were in the mid and late game. It is absolutely wasted gil. Just like the Dragoon monograph, don't get it until you're late game. That is just not worth it. And there's also the Scholar monograph. Talk to an owner of an armor shop 15 times. So this only affects constructs which are Brainpan, Dadar, and as well as Golems, Clay Golem, Babel, and Guardian, which is Miriam, Facer. So these are actually pretty rare enemies. This is another one I would not consider getting till late game, just because most of these are you're not going to be seeing most these for the most part. Whereas undead enemies, you're going to be seeing an incredible amount of those. That's why I say get War Mage first, then Hunter, then Mage. You can't get them in any order you want, but I strongly recommend you get the War Mage first, just because there's going to be a point where you're going to abuse the living hell out of that. Like, it's absolutely unreal how much you're going to abuse that. And notice you have a lot of loot. These are all drops. And we've gotten in the habit of just buying a bunch of magic because, we had the ability to. And you notice our weapons are kind of varied. We have a Mithril Blade on Vaan, which allows him to have a lot of damage early on, as well as we have a Broadsword. A Flame Staff. Now, a Flame Staff is very useful for a mage character because it boosts, the fire damage. And we have a bunch of longswords we can sell or just give out as extra gear. We have Karkatas, 2 of them. Now notice it has 92 attack power as well as unhit confused, so it can be very useful if you have someone bum rush the license. It is unfortunately only available on the knight, license board. And on him we have a bronze shield, headguard, windbreaker, and bangle. Bangles are very useful because they negate the need to constantly use Libra. If you have it on an active party member, you will never need to use Libra to fight an enemy. Now we're going to look at the Bestiary. Now the Bestiary is interesting because it interacts with the trial mode, which means you can actually see enemies from areas you are not actually supposed to be able to see enemies from. And once you kill enough of an enemy, all the enemies have a different kill amount. When you have enough of them, then you see the extra lore tidbit. And you can see in the classification what one an enemy is under. So here, if I didn't tell you just now that it's under dragons, you would see here, hey, it's under dragon. And we have one more to go for the Sleipnirs. And they are in the southern part of the Giza Plains. not every single lore bit is relevant, but it tends to give a little bit of hint as to what they drop. So I believe werewolves have a stake as a rare drop. So as you can see, I believe we don't actually have access to this hunt yet, so we were able to do that. And you can, like I said, you can actually see enemies and bosses that you should not be able to see for a very long time, as well as rare game. So if you're having trouble, trying to find certain rare game like the Razorfin or the Neckbet, then you can actually use trial mode to bypass it. Especially since some rare game has some extremely specific spawn conditions that you can use trial mode to actually bypass that. Like there's a one called the Deaf Guys. I think it was Deaf Guys or Doom Gaze. It was definitely meant to be a name referencing previous Final Fantasy. It actually spawns reliably in trial mode, so you can use it to bypass trying to find it in a optional area. And this is Belias, a boss that we find about, I want to say 15, 20 hours in the game. Final Fantasies are usually something like 60 hours or so. But yeah, he is like one of the early bosses and one of the few espers required by the story. So you can actually fight him in trial mode long before you're supposed to. Okay, and here's the Sky Pirates Den. This is what I want to talk about. Now, you get little mini achievements that also pop at the same time as the Steam achievement, if you're or whatever console you're playing on that has achievements support. So basically anything except Nintendo. Yeah, I'll never understand that one. Nintendo's always way behind everybody else on stuff like that. At least that's my opinion. So you get little mini achievements here. Now, some of these do actually transfer over to Steam achievements, but I would have to go look up the list to tell you which ones for sure. Now, you get these for reaching milestones. And most of these are going to be done over time, like having a party level average of 50. That one you'll get over time if you're leveling up everybody equally. See, some of these are, and some of these will come from milestones like slaying elite marks. The big high-end games, stuff like Matt are under the elite marks, and that's stuff that you have to go to Mont Blanc to unlock. We'll just get this off the screen. All right. Also, take note of your clan rank. Now, before, Muncher talked about how you get more items as you level it up. We're going to go head over to the Bazaar so we can see what it looks like here. If I remember correctly, you actually upgrade your rank by completing hunts. And you don't have to go back and talk to Mont Blanc about it. Let's see here. So we're going to all ask back here. Gotta go fast. Hey, we should not be able to buy Gambits right now. So basically, you cannot access Gambits until you get a party member. Yeah, see? So they keep you from using the Gambits until about 6 or 7 hours in. which is when you're inside the when you've done the palace infiltration, which is not actually very long. So don't be fooled by the I would say it's actually about 2 hours into the game. So you get them pretty quickly. So you go to him, he'll still not give you any elite marks until the story has progressed enough. So now let's take a look at the Bazaar, like I wanted. But I just want to show that real quick. And every time you get a rank up, you get, rewards like we saw before. So oil is actually something very useful for certain, boss battles as well as certain, enemies. And as you can see, what it does is it increases all fire damage. Increases fire damage dealt to all foes who get hit by it. And decoy is useful for late game, elite mark hunting because it improves the tankiness of whoever get hit by it. All right, so. Now, something to note about the Carcata, if you manage to get one from the Flowering Cactoid in trial mode, which you had to steal and you had to keep stealing, if you manage to get it, what you might be it's worth considering swapping Vaan to Knight and using his amping his LP up to get it. So you basically reset your board and then burn every single LP you can to get to Carcata. Oh, we went past the Lowtown gate. And if you do that, that means you have a very powerful weapon, right? Able to be used before the first proper boss of the game. And believe me, it is a severe game breaker. And that's just one of the main things you can do with trial mode is it's definitely abusing like that is definitely for advanced players in the sense that you've played the game before and you understand exactly what you want to get from your LPs. Okay, so we're gonna head out. And you notice we have a lot of hit points on Vaan, so we are very good. These amount of hit points would actually last you about, I would want to say, about 20 hours into the game. Yeah, I want to say about that because around in game, unless you're using hit point items, you're around roughly 4,000 to 5,000 hit points before any items and all that. That's assuming you have a maxed out hit. Sorry. Can we pause it? Okay, yeah. So that assumes you have maxed out, all of the hit point augments on your boards, as well as not wearing gear. So around that much. And there's something to talk about with license boards. When we get our second one unlocked, I'll explain more. It's much better if we just wait until then to explain what the secret of license boards really is. Anyway, so the Giza Plains. Now, this is an interesting area because it has a weather system in it. Right now, as you can see, we are in the dry. So yeah, I just want to unpause it real quick to show we are in the dry. Story-wise, you're in the dry until the story calls for you to be within the rains. Now, this means monsters will change around. There's more different monsters out during the dry season that are not present in the wet season, and vice versa. So think of it like a day and night cycle. You get different ones out during the day, and you get different ones out during the night. The same thing is true here. Giza Plains, well, actually, because when it gets flooded, that means you can actually have a different path towards different areas, as well as different areas will open up that cannot be reached unless it is the wet season. And quite a few marks take place during the wet season, so that's something you should consider if you decide to pursue the hunt side quest. Let's see. Okay, so go straight down and you'll be right in the nomad village. Oh, that there was somebody. Okay. Keep on moving. Oh, and I wanted to show the license, something about the license board real quick. It's not the secret of it, but it's also something to keep in mind that we will be talking about it again with the second board. You'll notice there are spots on little red orbs. This is your quickening. You want to hold off on your quickening until you have access to your second board. There's a very good reason why, and we will explain that when the time comes. Trust me. You do not want to rush quickenings. But then again, considering, at this point you can reset your board, it's not necessarily a bad idea, but you should definitely consider it, if only for the fact that you don't want to constantly reset your board, right? And now you have Penelo temporarily in your party. She will rejoin permanently later on. Now notice she has an incredible amount of yeah, she's got a incredible amount of LP because, again, she scales off Vaan's LP. All LP Vaan has got up to this point, she gets. Now something, okay, sorry, I need some water. Just a moment, please. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so Penelo will scale off Vaan's LP, and if she's not in the party, in the sense that she's not part of the party as a story reason, she will continue to gain LP in some levels. And if a party member is not in the active party, when you have all 6, if they're not in the active party, they will still gain LP. They will not gain XP, however. That being said, let's talk about Penelo. She is naturally the best magic user. So you want to consider Black Mage, Time Battle Mage, or Red Battle Mage for her. She can work well as a White Mage, but since this is the early game and you do not have access to fire or anything, you want to consider her as a Black Mage for now. Especially if you did Dustia cheese, which means you have a very good chance of having gotten the Flame Staff. So I definitely recommend making her a Black Mage and making White Mage as her secondary. Now, if you're going to prioritize magic lore, because the more damage she does, the better. The magic lore and channeling are the big ones you need to look for when building a character as a Black Mage. Make sure to get your entry spells. Martyr is a very nice one, especially if you are not going to be taking much damage to begin with. I'm not sure the conversion rate though. I would have to look it up because I've never actually paid attention to it, but it's very much worth it to get it. It's any method of regenerating magic points without having to use potions or save crystal will help out immensely. So for weapon and armors, you should consider prioritizing what point you're up to. I would say, look at what's in the stores, and then maybe 2 or 3 past that. We have a lot of LP here, so you're going to be seeing a lot more of this. Yeah, this is a very useful for the ability for any offensive mage character. Again, I don't know the ratio. I have to look it up, but I know in general it works, and it stacks with Inquisitor. And also, if you're having trouble figuring out which way to go, you can do a preview of tiles. And as you can see, if we go deep down in here, we will finally get access to this. So hold on just a moment, please. Alright, sorry about that. So if you go deep down in here, you can see staves to, stats to Mystic Armor. Mystic Armor is just the name for Mage Armor. So all the Mage Armors would be underneath that, despite it sounding like it's for Mystic Knight. If you go this way, you get Flame Staff. Now, something to note about this game is that elemental magic is actually very powerful. Like in general, elemental magic is strong in Final Fantasy. However, this game in particular makes it so that certain encounters can be much easier if you have the right spell. Like if you decide to go back into trial mode and farm it some more with Penelo, you'll be able to clear out some of the early spawns much easier with her on a Black Mage because of access to Arrow. Like one of the really tough spawns early on can be just taken out quickly with it. And here you got more and more. Very beautiful spells. Augments, sorry. And here is where one of your hit points, are. Now the henchman, I'm not really sure if it has to be her doing the last blow or just a kill period. I kind of feel like it's all of them, but I never really paid attention to that sort of thing. If you go deep into accessories, you get access to another swiftness, which is absolutely worth it. Now this here is an in-game weapon, so I would not suggest spending the LP for it until you actually have it. That's something to consider. You should consider being frugal with your LP when you absolutely need to be. So going that deep for swiftness is good, but not for spending it on accessories 18 or 22. This is a kind of a dice roll one, but we're getting it anyway just because there may be extreme situations where you need it. Once again, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna grab swiftness. Once again, save your quickenings because you want to figure out which way you're gonna go with some of these. Okay, and if we go deep into here, we will have crazy magic potency. And I suggest doing it because, again, if you did trial mode abuse, you're gonna have the ability to make Penelo a walking nuclear bomb. This early on, she will absolutely be a big bomb. Even though she's only been a party for a little while. So unfortunately, we don't have enough to get past this. But once you get into here, you have the ability to increase your magic, by a good chunk. And don't, if you fill up your board early, it's okay. If you're abusing trial mode, yeah, you're gonna have a good chance of filling up good chunks of this pretty easily. Now, I don't remember how much the potency increases. Actually, I'm going to check real quick, because I am kind of curious now. Let's see. Okay, license board. I feel like the wiki here will have information on what these augments actually do. Let's see. Gotta scroll down and find it. Augment. It just says, increases damage. It doesn't say how much it does. We're gonna have to Google that. There's a lot of battle lore and magic lore, so, and I believe it's actually divided up between, boards, so you can't just expect to get them all on one board. Okay, so according to a quick Google, what it does is it increases it by 1 point. And apparently that actually does matter, so go figure. Something to note is katanas actually use these in their magic, their damage counter, calculation, so you may want to consider that. Okay, so now that we got her, built up, we are going to continue on. Yeah, real helpful, Penelo. Not like we've been, running around abusing things ourselves or anything. We're over there kicking T-Rexes in the nuts. Anyway. Yeah, she talked about Gambits, but we cannot actually do anything with them until Balthier. Balthier is our next party member that joins, and that's when we can actually do something with him. As you can see, we cannot actually access our Gambits. So she operates on her own special ones. And it's unlikely you'll have anything decent for... yeah. Now bear in mind, you can actually have interesting combos like a black mage with heavy armor, assuming you have the board unlocked. But generally speaking, light armor, or rather mystic armor, is better for mages because they'll have either you'll have a magic point increases and sometimes hit point increases. And the D-pad will allow you to switch around. Oh. So let's see Penelo in action. So that is why she, this is silly as hell because you'll be doing extremely high damage this early on. So we're actually going to just speed through here because we don't need to be here anymore. We'll just keep moving and moving and moving. And here's the kid we're looking for. There. Sadly, we can't skip this. But, you know, the fast forward button makes this a little bit more bearable. Well, I admit. Like we just randomly targeted something all the way over there and said, nah, he's gotta die. Alright, so where is... Oh, to our north. It's a good chunk. We'll double back and go to the other one. Okay, yep, this is the right way. And it pretty much always takes 3. And it'll teleport you back, which is great. And now we go all the way back to Rabanastre. You know, these huge distances between points that don't really seem much of a problem when you have, you know, the 4x speed boost going on. Of course, you know, this could happen. And Penelo will temporarily leave. As she is likely to be your ideal black mage, you don't need to worry about her taking your black mage friendly gear with her. Oof. Just waiting there all the entire time. Now here is an interesting little place you can do. So we can get past this cutscene. Sadly, not every cutscene can be skipped. And if you go down this way, you are back where Vaan's story started, inside the sewer area. This is also the trial mode area. Oh, we went. Yeah, so that's the backfire ring part of the speed boosting everything. Getting up, walking the wrong way entirely.
Yeah.
You'll see your old friends, the dire rats. There. If you go there, you can get a mace early on, which you can help any. If you decide to get, make somebody a red battle mage, you got a mace for them. Oh, Doctor was none right on top of us. Okay. Okay, we gotta go this way. It's weird, just zooming along. It's beautiful, isn't it? So sometimes a razor fin will spawn in this area. And it's a rare game, but if you're having trouble finding one in this area, just use trial mode. When you get to a new area, you'll see question marks on there. Okay, so now we are inside the Royal Palace, which is a one-time visit area, and what you need to do here is to grab the palace map, which is right next to you. I need some water again. Okay, so in certain areas you'll see urns like that, like the one that's right next to us. right, sorry again. Need water more. I've been talking for a long time. It's not shown in the VODs, but I'm merging VODs together. So basically taking breaks and then recording, it's the next session and not drinking a lot, while talking. So now, there we go. So not every single urn will look like this, but it will be marked as an urn when you interact with it. Now you have a complete location map, and it tell you, show every single thing on there that's possible to visit. So this is a mechanic for this area.
Over here!
God, that's loud! I forgot how loud that was. It's like he's on a walkie-talkie or intercom. Man, I just forgot how loud that was. Nope, so we don't go too far in here. So you're basically looking for... Hang on. We'll grab that. Anyway, so you're going to be looking for that little icon there. But first you have to light it up. So you first have to evade the guards.
Hello?
Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. Okay, so we need to... If you go too close, this happens. And it resets the entire thing, so that can be worth it to get caught sometimes if you're having trouble moving around because you called over at the wrong spot.
Hey, Buckethead! Hello?
Oh, sorry. Again, if you use the speed too much, that can happen.
Over here!
Wow. So I thought they went on to the Sigil. It's been that long since I had to do this, I forgot.
Hello?
Yep, there we go. That's the right one. Another one you can't skip. Now you got to find that. So you got to move them around again. Now what you can do is reset this. And since the Sigil is lit, it shouldn't matter anymore. Let's see.
Over here!
Ah, crap. Okay. Forgot, that's right. We go the wrong way. So yeah, this can be a little bit annoying because you got to move him around.
Hey, Buckethead.
Alright, move these
Over
guys.
here.
So we reset again.
Hey, Buckethead.
Ah! Backfire! We gotta be more careful about that.
Hello. Hey, Buckethead.
You know, see it from a distance whether or not it has, you know, the light underneath it.
Over here.
Now you should be able to pull him this way. Be careful about this guard over here. See? I was wrong. Is that not distance, but there you go. Notice you are in a hidden area that is shown on the map, so you cannot see the anything on the minimap. So there's going to be a hidden lever around here. Come on, press. Now it opens. I wonder how they intended to get out. Now, this is interesting because if I remember correctly, there are certain fights later on that having the magic site with actually made a difference, but I can't remember, so I have to look into it, you know, as soon as I can. You notice you cannot go anywhere else. You have to go straight up. Ah. All right, now we have Balthier and Fran. So we'll go over to them in a moment. All right, sorry, needed more water. Okay, now we have them in the party. Notice they start a level above Vaan and have all the LP we gained with them. You know, him. Well, actually, Fran is a little bit varied, but generally speaking, she will, you know, any new party members will have the same LP. Now, Balthier is a little bit flexible. In the original game, he started out with guns and he was best used as a ranged unit, so machinist. And that's what I suggest you do with Balthier, is make him a machinist white mage. This allows you later in the game to have access to healing on a main character, because he is more or less, you know, one of the best people to have in your party at all times. So we're gonna fill him up. and machinists use light armor. Make sure to get, a lot of the light armors. And again, save your quickenings. Balthier can get his extremely quickly, even if you didn't use, Dustia cheese or trial mode abuse. Since guns operate off of, from what I remember, guns operate off physical damage more than anything else. So make sure to stack up all of the battle lores you can get. I would say take guns and light armor to up to level 6 at least. This is defined by the number of the license. So light armor 5 is level 5. Same with guns 5. That would be a minimum, is what I would say. And make sure that every person has accessory 6. Around, I want to say mid game, you gain access to the ability to buy golden amulets. These are worth it because they double your LP gain. They can make farming much faster. And in trial mode, I'm pretty sure it works with trial mode LP as well. Deep down here is where his hit points are, so make a beeline for them. Balthier is normally a fairly squishy character if you make him machinist, so you want to take care of him, those early on. And we're getting low on LP, so we need to look at what we should get next. I definitely suggest looking at item lores like ether lore and potion lore and all that, because machinist, you'll be making him your healer. So at least a secondary healer. Like Penelo will be your other healer. Balthier will be your main healer. So my party is usually Vaan, Balthier, and Bosch when we get him. So that is why I tend to make Balthier healer, because it puts a healer in the main party. And it makes him emulate the chemist from Final Fantasy Tactics. Ooh. Well, we don't have enough LP, but there is a swiftness right there that you should consider as soon as you can. Oh, I'll be damned. Never mind. So swiftness are priority augments. You should consider getting after you get the damage stat. Alright, now Fran. Now, in the original game, Fran started out with Archer, with bow stuff, and she is still pretty much an effective Archer. I think she's the most naturally inclined towards Archer, largely because of Viera. Oh yeah, by the way, Fran is a Viera, so that's something we learn about as part of the story. A little bit more about the Viera, because we go to Root Village, and as a side note, if you're coming to this from 14, this is the original Fran. The Fran in the Evil East raids is heavily based on this Fran. So I would suggest making Fran an archer, and then making her a black mage as a secondary. Because black mage is strong, and you know if you don't have, if you don't want to use Penelo as a black mage, Fran will be your next best. Remember, there are 3 male characters and 3 female characters playable in this, so you have to make decide what your party comes are going to be. Granted, with Zodiac, system's current state, Zodiac Age's current state, allowing you to remap again, infinite amount of times, it's a bit of a moot point. But if you're in the habit of not remapping, or you just want to, recommended one, that is what I would do. So we'll make her an archer. And when you get done, doing all the LP cashing out, make sure to hit the optimize button in order to take care of your gear, because chances are good if you did trial mode spam, you will have decent gear. Now archers by default use light armor, so you want to take her up to 5, just like Balthier, because if you got a bunch of windbreakers like I do, you're going to want to take advantage of that. And once again, make sure to scout out for, the ones ahead. Now, around here, these are all late game area ones, but we do want to consider doing this for the swiftness. We have LP to spare, so go ahead and, this is a late game, bow. But there's a swiftness over here, and one over here. And as a side note, Phoenix lore is absolutely worth it, because you can have a Phoenix downs as emergency race buttons, since items tend to be near instant. Now we look around. There's battle lore up here, so you're going to want to consider moving up towards it. Now, unfortunately, you want to go with the cheaper option, which is something I didn't notice in time because I was too busy clicking. But generally speaking, we'll try to min-max it by picking whatever's cheapest. Down in here are accessories, and so some of these you will not need to worry about until late game, so it's okay to ignore them for a while. And up here is where your hit points are, so you want to try to get some of them as you can. Basically, you got to decide which is more important: hit points or having faster actions, as well as being able to equip strong weapons late game. Now, next time when we get 50 LP, we can go and get a huge boost in hit points. So if you think she is a little bit squishy being a ranged character, but you can mitigate it by just going up here and getting a crap load of hit points. And I would honestly suggest, now that we're in the spot, wait for it and make sure you do this when you have a bunch of LP you can spin at once. When you get the golden amulets later, it helps. Now, sometimes it could do this Mythril Blade. It could be equipped by anybody. So sometimes, yeah, you're going to have to mess around with that. Now, your arrow type, your ammunition is infinite. However, you have to find special, you have to buy the ammo out in the wild, rather, out in the store or find it out in the wild. Sometimes you can craft it via the Bazaar. But once you have it in your inventory, it's unlimited, so you don't need to worry about reloading or buying extras. And they do affect your damage. Now we're going to heal up for free. Notice how high our hit point totals are. Again, this is going to last us for a very long time. However, I do suggest making sure you get everybody's hit points up to a certain amount. And now we have actual access to our, gambits. But first we got to get past the tutorial. If you ended up making a character a white mage at this point, it would help immensely to put a cure on a macro. Ah, come on. So unfortunately, you cannot skip this tutorial. It forces it on you. When you play the game as many times as I have, you're gonna get bored of it. You see the tutorial, I mean. Let's just get this off the screen. There. Alright, so let's check our gambits. Notice we have targeting, people who have been in the party but not actually here. We're gonna, until we have white mage on him, we're gonna use potions. Now, when you get the Gambit shop opens back up in Rabanastre, go there and buy every single Gambit you can get. And this is a great way to focus fire. Now, unfortunately, we don't have what we need right now, but we're going to disable this. What we're going to have here is Phoenix Downs. Now, when we get the ally stats KO, this will make it, and then when we put, just turn it back on and put it above any others, this means that, she will automatically res anybody who gets downed. So you can automate some of this very easily. And now, if you look at this, Gambits are now part of your license board. We're going to buy 2 of those on him. And we don't need any others on others right now. Vaan will be in your party for a very long time. There are very few instances where Vaan is not part of the party. right, so Gambits get a bad rep, but I think it's just people didn't want to take the time to learn them. They're actually really easy to understand. You see how much easier combat is when you just set it up a little? Trust me. Gambits are very easy to understand. All you gotta do is just a little bit of planning on what you're expecting to do. Alright, now which way? Oh, this way.
The situation.
Alright, so something interesting about this is, she's a guest member, but, this is a future party member. And you cannot change her equipment. But she has access to cure. Actually, I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, we can't actually see her gear. But generally speaking, she'll have the same gear that she has when she joins up later. Speed it up, I guess. Let me check the sound on it, because that seems very high, even though it shouldn't be. Oh, wow, it reset somehow. Okay, so sorry about that. I did not realize it reset. So I was so busy talking, I didn't realize it somehow reset. So, okay. Now let's cure her blindness. Notice she starts at 22, so she is around our level. Oh, right. Sorry, I keep forgetting you don't do it in the menu there. Do it here. It's been that long since I played her, right? Wait. Oh, that's a regular gust. That was a lick. So, important tip. Undead can be killed in one shot with Phoenix Down most of the time. There are very few exceptions. Oh, and I forgot to talk about the Monographs. There's something else about the Monographs I didn't tell you. Yeah, I didn't say. They do not work on bosses, and with some exceptions, they don't work on. Well, they work on rare marks. However, some exceptions apply, and I'm not really sure which ones, that's true of. It's around here somewhere. You can see the pop-up. Ah, wow! Blend right into the background. We don't need to save right now. No, I think we should be able to manipulate. Yeah, so we can come back later in the game after the story segment and manipulate those. Now, this is the Firemane. Yeah, being a fire enemy is actually weak against water. And I don't think we have any water. Let's see. Do we have any water abilities? It doesn't actually matter much because he's going to die quickly. And if you throw fire at him, he will absorb it. Notice how much damage we're doing already. So he's dying quickly. Now some bosses will have a little animation like that. I'm not really. It's kind of like a cutscene ability. I'm not really sure what to call it. It's not, in 14 terms, it's not in enrage. So yeah, pretty quick kill the boss. And this is definitely something to consider. It doesn't matter because we are well above the area's level requirements. I think the expected level around this is 7 or 8. We are well above it. So we will pick it up here next time.